Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unfiltered Season 3. Um, like we always tell everybody, we want y'all to go ahead and share. Uh, as soon as you get in this podcast, nothing to change. Share, support, follow us. Should be getting all the updates directly on our site, Facebook as well. Tonight, we didn't just build this up for no reason, but we built it up because it's going to be a great night. I told y'all we was going to have a very, very special guest. Very special. So one of the biggest things that I get all the time is people asking me and giving me compliments. And thank God, giving me compliments on the type of individual, the type of man that I am, how I carry myself and everything of that nature. Well, I told my dad, he down here right now, he right there. I told him I'm going to try to give him an introduction without crying. So this is how I'm going to try to do it to the best of my ability. It's that at the age of 20, my goodness, that makes me feel even older. Age of 20, my senior year of college, I had the great pleasure of meeting this man, going into ministry classes. And from that point on, God has blessed me to not only have this man in my life in every capacity that someone could imagine, because God bless Randy Johnson Sr., my father, amazing man, gone way before his time. And I thank God every day because he knew that I needed still further male in my life. So, like I said, at the age of 20, I got this incredible man. I got to be underneath him in every aspect that you can imagine, whether it be business, whether it be life, whether it be ministry. I have gotten to soak in and been able to watch this man conduct himself as nothing short of a great man. And to everyone that see every business endeavor and everything that I do in life and see that they like it and they love the way I conduct myself, it is because, and I'm not ashamed to say this whatsoever, because I believe in getting credit where credit is due, it's because of this man that we have on here tonight. I love him. There's no other words that I can express to say how grateful I am to have him and to call him dad. Like I said, tonight, I was like, if you got wisdom and you do a lot of things and you see that your growth is good, I guess you got to share the wealth. So this is me sharing my version of my magic lamp of life to this incredible man, to my father. I want everyone, he really don't need no introduction. He's known all around the city. And just wanted to introduce everyone to Apostle Kevin Bing.
Welcome on. Very good. Let me know when he show up. I like to meet him. He sounds like a good guy.
So I want to make sure that everybody we can hear everybody. Everybody can hear real good out there.
Sound good to me.
Okay, good. All right. So everybody that's on here tonight, go ahead, share. Get it out there. We here. We told y'all it's gonna be here. Now I give y'all the first. I don't know why I got to give y'all a warning when you come on Unfiltered, but you should already know that it is what it is on Unfiltered, and we can't wait for these topics tonight. And like I said, I'll just if he want to say anything before we even get started, and then of course I'll let Jordan introduce yourself as well. But Dad, if you got anything to say before we get started, go right ahead.
Nope, I don't really have anything to say. Thank you for that introduction, son. Just hope all the family out there, hope everybody's good. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Do this.
All right. Yeah. All right. to my co-host, I'll let him do his thing.
Y'all know it's about that time again, man. When that 7 o'clock hits on Wednesdays, everybody should be expecting. They gotta expect that unfiltered to come through, man. It's your boy, Jordan Asian boy, the Don Magic Wine, that light-skinned player from them Himalayas, man. Welcome to Unfiltered, everybody else. We are in for a deep show today, man.
Absolutely. And of course, we got Mac. Mac is on his way. He's just getting off of work doing the family thing. So I we want to get kind of right into the just a couple things. The biggest things that we see going on with all this year, we've seen so much. I think more than any other year so far. Seeing is a lot of attention to what should be with black men. I think it's the one thing that we haven't paid attention a lot to, that everything is being geared around to, and that's like I said, all the attention that's been given. You can say black as a whole, but a lot of it has been geared towards black males.
Mm-hmm.
With a lot of the violence, and not to mention, not taking for granted of the women who have had experience as well. But one of the things that we really wanted to do tonight was talk about a lot of things that's going on with the black male. We ain't talking about just the outside influence. We talking about the inside influence too. The psyche of things that's going on, and it's interesting with everything that's happening that we see that it seems like the black dollar is getting all this attention, because I agree with people. I say, make no mistake about it. It's all about economics when it comes to everything that's going on. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's economics, period. And what we just want to do is kind of start off with everything that's going on. What do y'all feel, and why do you feel that we having all this attention to detail when it comes? It seems like now, this Black Lives Matter, or this thing, everything, it seems like all of a sudden is mattering, but it's been a lot of ways for years this way. So what makes this year so special when it comes to trying to address the ills and issues in Black America?
You want to attack it first, Kevin?
Yeah. So this is Unfiltered, right?
Yep.
Well, first of all, let me help you understand something about Black Lives Matter. First of all, Black Lives Matter is not a movement about Black lives. That's the first thing. So the other thing is that Black Lives Matter is, notice how I picked up steam in 2020, because this is an election year. So anything that has to do with the election, Democrats and Republicans, everybody's throwing money behind this particular movement, but this movement is not done, and it will not do anything for Black lives, because Black lives really don't matter. Black lives will never matter. Black lives will not matter, because you can't make people care about Black lives. Mm-hmm. So the problems that we've been having with Black people as a Black race, as a Black nation, it's been going on for years and years and years. Organized civil rights movement has been going on since the 1950s. Okay, and they really didn't do anything to improve quality of life for Black people. All they did was allow house niggas to go out and live with the whites like they wanted to do. The field niggas still have to struggle. So so what really happened? Nothing really happened. And when the house niggas was able to go out and live wherever they wanted to live, shop wherever they wanted, what did they do? They abandoned their own kind. They forgot about their own kind. So what are you seeing right now? You're seeing a replication of that. You're seeing the duplication of that right now, because the only individuals that are benefiting from the Black Lives Matter movement are those individuals who are just patting their pockets so they can fund their own interests. The rest of the Black folks are going to continue to struggle. They're going to struggle educationally. They're going to struggle economically. They're going to continue to struggle socially. And after the election is over, everything is going to go back to the way it was. Protests are going to go away. Police brutality is going to continue. Economic disparity is going to continue. It's all about the election. It's all about the politics. And ultimately, it's all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
When we as a black people begin to start understanding the economics behind politics, then we can really start making some social change. But until we understand that, nothing is really going to change. That's why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. We got to stop following the smoke screen. We got to understand what's really going on. There is no such thing as a Black Lives Matter movement. It's an acronym to say, I want to get rich. That's what's really going on.
That was that.
Mhm.
That was for sure that.
And I make a lot of people mad, but it's just the reality. The truth it is. Watch. You got to watch. Keep your eyes open and watch and listen. That movement. I can't even tell you the numbers of white people that have poured money into that movement.
Mm-hmm.
Just millions and millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But not to support the move, to support the folks that's trying to get paid.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree. Man.
Somebody is going to get elected. It's an election year. And everything historically, when you look at election years, you always have this kind of thing that happens in election years. Always.
Absolutely.
Always.
What do you mean? As far as a movement coming along those lines, or?
Yeah, just an awareness, an increased awareness of,
Yep.
racial, social, political injustice. Always during election year. Always. Okay. Watch. When Obama was elected the first time, there was a high awareness. The very same things we're seeing right now, we saw the first year that Obama was elected. The second term, you ain't seen nothing.
Yeah, it died down real smooth, real quick.
The second term was just they wanted to put him back in because they just wanted to keep a black man in office. The first term when he was elected, that's when you saw the heightened awareness, racial insensitivity, all of those things that had to do with racial injustice. All of that was surrounded, the first campaign of Obama. The second year, it was nothing. And his second term, this is what folks don't like. The second term, because Obama had already been in, because his pockets had already been stuffed fat, because he'd already become a multimillionaire by that particular time. Obama, and see, folks don't understand, Obama didn't do anything for the African American race. And folks don't understand that. He didn't. All we can do is celebrate history and say, well, we had a black president, that's good. But how much changed for African Americans in the 8 years that Obama was in office? Nothing. And we're not even seeing that because we don't understand the money behind the movement.
So how do you feel we changed that? When you say, again, as far as us being so involved in the politics and understanding how politics works with us and what we need to do, and then understanding the money behind all of that. I mean, how do we bridge that gap a little bit more?
This is the first thing you got to do. You got to stop going out to Somerset, going to the Louis Vuitton store, buying them $2,000 purses so you can hang out with your boys and your girls for a night, party, make folks believe that you got it and you ain't got it, and then the next day take it back because you really couldn't afford to buy it in the first place. That's the first thing you got to do. That's the first. I can't tell you, it pissed me off every time I go to Somerset and I'm seeing all these poor broke ass niggas going out there to the Gucci store, standing in line trying to buy stuff that they can't afford. And then after they done partied all night trying to pretend to be what they're not, then they take it back to the next day because what they really did was they took money out of their babies' mouths. They took money off their rent. They took money off their mortgage. They took money off of all of their other important responsibilities to try to pretend. And then they took it back because they really couldn't afford it in the first place. See, we got to understand economics. Economics and politics go together. You're never going to change until you get your economic priorities in order. That's where it's got to begin. You got to understand that your money always has and always will have power. And everybody know the black dollar is more powerful than white dollars. Everybody know that. But you got to understand that and stop being stupid. I'm looking at all of these stupid young girls out here carrying these LV bags, but yet they looking like thoughts to the 10th degree. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you trying to prove? Where's your mind at? And all of that in the world is not going to change your situation. What you wearing is not going to change your situation. we've got to change our consciousness first of all about what to do with money, because it's always about money and it always will be about money. So we got to understand the power of money and what money does for us and how money works against us. That's how we have to stop. When we begin to start understanding money, then we can change the political landscape. You cannot change the political landscape without money. How do we know that? Look at who's in the White House right now. That man ain't had a bit of political influence or political service or political experience in his life. How did he get in office? He bought himself a presidency. Anybody can be president. All you got to do is have money to do that. We got to understand that money controls politics. The House of Representatives, the Senate, the Congress, none of those people control the government. The government is controlled by the billionaire investors and entrepreneurs that continually pour money into this capitalistic society. We have to understand that. I tell young people all the time, I say, who's more important to you, LeBron James or the person who signs LeBron James' check? They look at me sideways because they forget that somebody has to sign his check. And then they say, LeBron James, man, he's the greatest basketball player of all time. I say, no, young fella, no, he's not. LeBron James has a boss. The person who owns LeBron James is the person who pays him. And he has 10 times the amount of money that LeBron James has. That's who has the power. LeBron James is just a peon in this thing. LeBron James, great talent as an athlete, but LeBron James has been used by a system called the National Basketball Association, which caters to billionaire basketball owners. We got to understand that. Until you become the individual that signs the check, you don't have influence. And influence and power is how you change the landscape.
I don't know what to say, Kevin. I knew before we came on the show, again, Randy is a mentor for me. That's somebody I look up to and I listen to continuously. Again, when he speaks, I listen. And when he said he calls you dad, he looks to you that I'm like, oh man, it's finna be a show. And keep on going. I'm not trying to stop you. Please continue. I interject.
Y'all said an hour and a half. We could go 2 hours just on this topic alone, understanding the consciousness of the dollar, but your question was, how do we change the landscape? You change the landscape by understanding how powerful your dollars are. That's how you change the landscape. Okay. Nobody knows my level of wealth. Nobody knows my wife's level of wealth. Do we have money? Yes. Are we living good? Yes. Are we living comfortably? Yes. Are we living the life we want to live? Yes. Why? Because we're smart with our money. We invest our money. But if you saw me in the street, you wouldn't know what I had. You would probably misjudge me. You would probably think that I was something I'm not, because I don't have all my dollars on my back. I don't have them on my feet. I don't have them on my face. My dollars are in a place where my dollars are growing so that I can make money while I'm sleeping. I don't live paycheck to paycheck. My money pays me. I don't pay my money. My money pays me. I make money while I sleep. My money is working even now. While I'm on this broadcast, my money is working for me. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll have a notice from the bank. This amount of money has been deposited in your account. Get another notice. This amount of money has been deposited in your account. Why? Because my money is working for me. I no longer work for money. I've learned how to make money work for me. As a Black people, that's what we have to begin to do. My father told me when I was a young boy, about 12 years old, my father told me, make your money with your head, not with your back. I remember that. And so that is the way that I have lived my life economically since that particular time. It's not that I can't do hard labor. It's not that I haven't done hard labor. But I understand now that my mind is a greater investment into capitalism than my body will ever be. Okay. And so we got to understand as Black people how to take our mind and liquidate the natural assets that are just laying around the earth, because there's plenty of natural assets laying around the earth. We got to take our mind and learn how to liquidate those assets so we can begin to start living the life that all other individuals live. There is no reason why there should not be more Black millionaires and billionaires walking around. There's no reason. And until we change our mindset about money, that's not going to change.
Mac posted a quick question on here, Kevin, that I wanted to pose to you. He said, does voting play more of an influence than money when it comes to politics?
No. No, voting is your constitutional right. You vote because that's your constitutional right. But money is what controls the political landscape. Okay? At the beginning of the political process last year, there were over 20 individuals that threw their hat in the ring to be president of the United States of America on the domestic ticket alone. That was over 20 individuals who were recognized by the Democratic National Convention. But there were over 1,172 individuals that qualified to be president of the United States based on criteria that was put forth by the federal government. That's a lot of individuals. Well, who determined who got in front of the camera? Who determined that? It wasn't no vote because ain't nobody voted yet. Neither one of the individuals that people are looking at right now, okay, ain't no votes taking place. People are voting now. But how did those two individuals, of all the individuals that were running, how did those two individuals get before the camera? How did that happen? Because of money. So Biden got his pocket stuff, okay? Trump got his pocket stuff, okay? And then the people said, you know what? I'm gonna stuff your pockets. I'm gonna pay you off, but this is what I need you to do. I need you to do this for me. I need you to do this for my business. I need you to do this for my wife. I need you to do this for my daughter. I need you to do this for my son. And if you do that, okay, I'm gonna line your pockets. I'm gonna make them real deep. I'm gonna increase your cheese. Your bread is gonna be sweet and salty. And then, all you got to do is just go up there and just lie before the people and tell them what they want to hear. And I'll make sure that you get elected. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked.
Absolutely. When you just brought that up, because we were talking about that and we said it before, I said it's interesting. I said when the day Bloomberg say, I want to run for the election, he's going to buy his way on stage. And what happened? He got his way right on stage, bumped off a couple other people. And I mean, I was just like, this is how it works. And I said, in all honesty, because I understand everything that you're saying. When someone asked me, how in the world will politics ever be fair? And I said, the only way you can make politics fair is take money out the equation, which means you can't buy all the commercials. You can't buy all the institutions. You can't take money from lobbyists and things of that nature, that you're going to have to go and get in front of the people, that you actually going to have to speak to them, that you have to talk to them, that one person, because anybody can flood the airwaves full of advertisements. If I'm a multi-billionaire and I'm not taking money from nobody, that's what I'm gonna do. That's my plan, because people believe more what they see than what they hear anyway. So I think that is the only way to even do a fair political process is that you got to strip it down naked. It's almost like you got to strip everybody down naked.
You said what, Kevin? This thing went
out. It's called market saturation. You look at it. You look at campaign for anything, any campaign for anything. There's subliminal. It's called subliminal advertising. So the more you see a product, the more likely you are to invest in that product. It doesn't mean it's a good product, but it just means that you keep seeing that product over and over and over again. Your mind becomes entrenched with that product. And because your mind has been entrenched, you've been saturated with it. That product, your mind has been manipulated, and you say, oh, I'm gonna buy that product. You don't care if it's good for you or not. You become psychologically dominated because you've been saturated. There's been market saturation. Market saturation has led to market penetration. And so now your mind says, I better buy this project, because if they're spending this amount of money to keep this product in front of me, it must be good. No, they got a lot of money to throw at you to make you think that it's a good product, because they want you to buy it, because the more product you buy, the richer their company is going to get. Not have nothing to do with the product being good or not. It's about that company making money. That's why people buy. It's the same thing with the political process. The more advertising you see, the more likely you are to vote for whoever is constantly in front of your face on the screen. That's how it works.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I know I'm going to get. Max said thank you too. We had a couple other comments too. I know we had right here. I just want to put that on there. If it's, see, it's still on there. It says it's going to be important. Right here it says we need. He says it's important that blacks must establish their own economic system. How you feel about that, Dan?
That is absolutely true. You have to establish your own economic system. But before you can establish your economic system, you have to understand economics. And understanding economics simply means this: you got to understand that the purpose is profit. You also have to understand that profit means investment. The reason that blacks don't do well in business is because they don't invest into their own economic system. Until we begin to start investing in our own economic system, we're not going to make money. And if we don't have any profit, okay, then we can't grow our business. The cycle of a business investment, it takes about 7 years before your business, if you start a business, it takes about 7 years before your business even shows any sign of profit, because you have to reinvest in that business. Every year, you got to take what you make and reinvest. Take what you make and reinvest. Why do you have to reinvest? Because you have to strengthen your economic base. What does your economic base consist of? It consists of your customer base, and your customer segments, your distribution channels. That's just a part of it. You got to invest in all of those things so that your business can have a good foundation. You can't take the money that you make initially off your business and begin to start spending it on crap and junk. You got to invest. It takes a lot of patience to be a smart entrepreneur. And most black people don't want to wait. And so when they get tired of waiting,
definitely. Kevin, we got another question from Mac here. He said, outside of money, what actions can African Americans use to influence and uplift our community?
So outside of money, what can we do to uplift our community? Well, the most common sense thing is this. I tell all the time, Black Lives Matter. Who do Black Lives matter to? They certainly don't matter to Black people. So until Black Lives Matter begin to start mattering to us, okay, then our communities are going to remain weak. I tell people this all the time, and again, people get mad, but it's just simply the truth. My mother was in her mid-80s, and a young Black man robbed her in her driveway in her house at gunpoint and took her purse. That's no disrespect. That's no respect to a senior citizen of our country. A young Black man robbed an elderly Black woman. Okay. I had 2 Black men break into my house, and my son knows this because he was here after the aftermath. I had 2 Black men try to break in my house and take me out. They were young, in their 20s. Wanted to break in and steal all my stuff. Why? Who do Black Lives matter to? I could go on and on and on and talk about these things. See, and the white people are just looking at us and they're saying, you know what? Black Lives Matter, forget that. We're gonna, we'll throw money at this all day, because you gotta understand this. That's what white people do. White people don't get behind the movement with their soul and their heart and their emotions. Okay, they might give a little bit of empathy, but what white people do, they will throw money at it because that eases their conscience. We have to, in order for us to really begin to start improving the things in our community, we got to begin to start treating each other with respect. If we don't do that, nothing in our community is going to change, because people are looking at us from other countries and other nations and they're saying, why should I care about them and they don't even care about themselves? That's where it begins. I need to be able to walk down my street and not worry about anybody trying to rob me. And of course, if they try to do that, that would be the end of their life. So that would not be a very wise thing for them to do. But I got to, myself, my wife, my family, we got to be able to do that. I got to be able to go shopping where I want to shop and not worry about anything happening to me. I got to be able to do that. I got to be willing to invest in my own community. Let's say that I had a business that I want to put in my community. I got to be willing to put that into my community and not worry about people coming in and stealing from me, my own people coming in and stealing from me, because all I'm trying to do is invest in my own community. There's plenty of property around that we can invest in, but why should I open up a business and then I got to shut it down 3 months later because my people have come in and stolen all of my product?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We got to change and start respecting ourselves and the things that we do to help our own people. That's where it begins.
So it sounds like it's consciousness. Everybody has to. It has to be a whole mental change that has to go across. And I feel like you got to start with your small circle, and hopefully that pushes out, because and stuff like this, the people that we have viewing, listening, the mentality has to change. If the mentality don't change, then I mean we'll always be in the same place and just what is it called? That Ferris wheel just gonna keep turning.
Yep. Like I said at the very beginning, you got to stop going out to Somerset, buying the Gucci, buying the Louis, and you ain't even paying your bills and taking care of your kids because you got to get to the club and you got to make niggas who don't even care about you. You trying to impress them and they don't even care about. They don't give a damn about what you got, and most of it is fake anyway because you can't really afford the real stuff, So you done found some knockoff, because you trying to impress somebody. That's the mentality that got to change. We got to stop trying to impress people that don't care about us. Folks don't care about you. They don't care about what you got. You got to begin to start understanding you got to understand your worth. You got to understand your value. You got to understand your importance, and you got to understand that your community needs you. And until we begin to start understanding all those things, and like you said, it's that whole mental refresh. We got to have a mental reset. Until we get that mental reset, nothing's really gonna change. That's why I don't get caught up in all of the stuff that I'm looking on TV because it ain't gonna change. It's just rhetoric. But it ain't gonna change. It's not gonna change. And whoever the next president is, it's not gonna change. It hasn't changed the last 4 years. It didn't change the last 4 years before that. It's not gonna change. It's not gonna change. So, we have to change ourselves first. That's where it starts. I got to change me first. When I change me first, I can begin to start influencing the other individuals around me.
Absolutely. And everybody, I know we getting so many questions there. So I'm going to get to everybody's questions. I know y'all got a ton of questions. I told y'all was going to have a ton of questions. And y'all thought I was playing. And I'm hopefully that a lot of y'all that be trying to get at me, because we take a lot of heat on Unfiltered sometimes because we don't do what's popular. And we've said this over and over again, that we not good guys, we not bad guys, but we fair guys. I don't think you could get anywhere being saying I'm gonna be a good guy or a bad guy. I've always valued being a fair guy. That means that I look at everything that's in the situation, I evaluate every single point, and then I judge it based upon that. Nothing else. You got to throw feelings out the way. And I think a lot of the times when we talk about things that we talk about tonight, especially within our own race, they get mad because we've said this so many times that everything you just said, Dad, about Black Lives Matter movement, we've said it 10 times over. We've said that y'all got to stop jumping behind things and y'all don't even do it. I'm like, how many of y'all even read the mission statement of this group? This mission statement is it'll just throw you right off the bat, let you know right off the bat, this is not about Black Lives Matter. And I think a lot of people, they don't mind saying everybody else needs to treat us better, but we get to treat each other like crap daily. And I'm like, no, see, that's backwards. That's like me going out. That's like a woman beater going out telling the guy, hey, man, you need to stop putting your hands on that woman. But as soon as you go home, you smacking your wife up every day. That makes you a hypocrite. So I agree with everything that you're saying. And people, like I said, we're going to get to y'all questions because y'all keep flooding them in, but we want to keep it going. Matter of fact, okay, we'll just get to some of the questions. Jada had one. She got two questions there. She has one. She says, so what should be done to educate our people on the financial wellness and investing? I think you kind of went over that a lot already. This the one. Here we go. She says, should churches lead in teaching the importance of financial wellness, especially since tithing happens within the church? And shouldn't the church show the kind of investing within the communities they sit in as well?
Nope, the church can't do it because the church doesn't understand money itself. How you gonna teach what you don't understand? We've been in the church, and the church. This is Unfiltered, right?
Yep.
The church. I'll say it like this: the religious church, because I gotta separate. because there are two churches. There's a religious church, and then there's the remnant church. The remnant church is the true church. That's the truth that follows and obeys the principles of Jesus Christ. The traditional church and the religious church, which has been established on the doctrines of man, is one of the most politically corrupt organizations on the planet. How can you teach people? How can you teach people what you do not understand and do not practice yourself? Yeah, let's. A lot of people don't know this. 86% of African Americans who call themselves Christians belong to a Baptist church. This is how deep this thing goes. The reason that is because the Baptist denomination was the only denomination allowed by our slave owners. So you couldn't practice any other denomination except Baptist. Most of your slave owners were Baptists. So when they allowed black slaves to preach and teach, they allowed them to preach and teach under the Baptist denomination. Well, what did they do? They took those practices that they saw their white slave masters do. They took those practices and took them right over into the black Baptist denominations. Okay. And one of those things was how to raise money. So they taught them how to raise money, but they didn't teach them how to invest money. They take money, but they didn't teach them how to invest money. So because your slave masters didn't have to invest any money because they were already rich, because they had become rich on the institution of slavery. So they didn't have to. So the religion that they created through the Baptist denomination was, again, only to ease their conscience. But Baptist slave owners were some of the most wicked men, okay, that existed on the planet at that particular time. Well, so I can't get what I need to get from the church, and the church is still practicing archaic financial principles that go back 300 years. I can't do it. So no, the church can't lead. We're not educationally equipped to lead yet. Because when you really begin to start talking about what tithes and offerings are really supposed to do, people who are in positions of power in the church are not going to understand that, because understanding this one, the tithe, according to the scripture, the tithe was never supposed to go to the church the way that it goes to the church now. The tithe was supposed to take care of the people. And then the priest, he was supposed to take a portion of his tithe, but guess what he was supposed to do with his tithe? He was supposed to take 10% of his tithe and give back to the people too. All of the money that goes into the church is to take care of the building, not the system of institutionalized religion. Well, if we have been indoctrinated with that false teaching, how can we change? So yeah, I like to say that I can go to the church and that's where it's going to teach you. No, the church is not going to teach you that. The church is going to teach you tithe and give offerings. But what are you giving your tithes and offerings to? Most of the time you're giving your tithes and offerings to a piece of real estate, because the money is not going where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go back to the people. Why does it go into real estate and not to the people? Because institutionalized religion has caused people to think that the church, the physical church place, is the church. The physical church place is not the church. The physical church place exists so you can keep the snow off, you keep the rain off, you keep the sun off you, but that's not the church. The church is the people, always has been the people. So we have to understand that the tithes and offerings need to go back into the investment of the people. And when that happens, you will eliminate poverty. Acts talks about how that was supposed to happen. Institutionalized religion got away from that. Acts chapter 2, 3, and 4 says that people gave out of the substance of their wealth, and then the apostles collected those offerings. And what did it say after that? They gave to the people as they had need. And then it says after that, and there was no poverty among anybody. That is how much exists in the church. The church is the richest institution on the planet, but because there's been a misappropriation of funds going back to centuries, we still have poor people in the church. So no, I'm not going to the church to teach me what to do with my money, because the church doesn't even understand what to do with its money. It ain't pretty, it just is.
And y'all thought that y'all thought I was the rebel. Now you see where it's coming from. I'm telling y'all, if you are not tuned in, and I see that y'all are tuning in, you need to share this right now with this information. I told y'all it's going to be an excellent night for this information that we're talking about. So many of y'all, we gonna go right into it, and y'all got some stuff that wasn't even on the. Man, y'all getting free. Y'all paying fees starting next week.
I got another question for you then. So, what should black people do with the churches they attend?
They need to, first of all, they need to get wisdom and understand the purpose of the church. That's the first thing. Got to understand the reason that the church exists. And then once you understand the reason the church exists, then you determine if where you worship is a place where you need to be. If you're not worshiping the church that really ascribes to the proper principles of the church as laid out in Acts chapter 2, 3, and 4, that's not a place that you need to be. All that church is going to do is continue to suck the life out of you. And suck the money out of you. You need to go into ministry that's teaching the truth about how the church operates, the foundation of the church, so you can really get what you need spiritually. Okay. We got black people that worship in services every Sunday that are just dying because they're not getting what they need spiritually, because they're not in a place where they're hearing enough of the truth to really make an impact on them socially, economically, intellectually, or financially. It's not. And they're hearing the same old thing over and over and over and over and over again. You know, and a lot of it's just a bunch of lies. So you got to understand the purpose of the church. The purpose of the church exists for two reasons: strengthen our relationship with God, strengthen our relationship with people. That's it. That's all the church exists for. All that other kind of stuff, the church is not built for that. Strengthen your relationship with God first, and then through your relationship with God, your relationship with your brothers and sisters ought to be strong. That's it. That is the gospel. We call that the gospel of the kingdom. When that message is consistently preached, then people will become strong. So if you're not in a ministry that is preaching and teaching that consistently, then you're just in the wrong place. You can ask God to send you someplace else.
Absolutely.
Man.
I tell you, it's good. I'm gonna tell you, this is something I had. We had our doctoral defense. Me and 4 other men had going. My dad was there as well, because, like I said, we was going to him for like, I'm almost over 2 years, and we had this doctoral defense. And I remember he told us before we went out there. He said, "Let me tell you something. The word and the word alone." And at first I didn't. It didn't register to me what he was saying, and then I actually understood. And then when we got out there, and when we was getting questions from all these men and women of God, I understood in that moment what he meant by that. Is that I don't have to make up my own documentation. I got to make up my own theories, because if I stick to what the word of God is saying, that's all I need. And I just remember, because it was one of it was worse than some of the worst things ever, because they were throwing questions, and these people that we had all this respect for, but they were coming like bam, 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 and it would quickly make you get into your feelings if you didn't watch yourself. And that's why, just like what you were just saying, it's like sticking to the word, sticking with your relationship to God, so that way you're working with your relationship with the people, and everything else is feel like it's all designed for confusion. And if God ain't no author of confusion, because everything's supposed to be done decently and in order.
Randy, you got to move.
Once it gets out of order, it's done.
You got to move a little bit closer. You kind of couldn't hear you as much.
Faded off a little bit. Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So, yeah, I just said it's like everything got to be done in order, decent and in order. And if it ain't done decent and in order, it's like when we was going back last week, we was talking about how we know when to stop dealing with people, when they start getting out of order, and then it become undecent. Everything, when all those things start to happen like that, there's no more dealing with people. And I didn't realize that we had a meeting one time. We was on basketball, and I still remember this because it changed my life forever. And these guys sitting there from all these different teams. We were over this football league, and all these guys from different teams saying all this stuff. And I felt like they was throwing like a whole bunch of tabs at my dad. And I remember looking at him, I said, "Look, you didn't let me say something, because I'm getting tired of their mouth." And I remember him sitting there, and in every way and fashion, he was calm. Every time, and I saw him kept looking over there at me like, "No, son, no, son, no." Because I wanted to go off. I wanted to be like, "Y'all can meet me out in the parking lot. I'm getting tired of y'all mouth." But when I saw the way he reacted and how he handled himself with so much class, that even when they tried to do underhanded things and it fell apart, who did they come back running to? They came back running to us because they realized, oh man, they made the mistake. And like you said, it's just that when you don't ever want somebody to get you off your page, someone to make you step into them. It's like when you said, and we've been saying on the show, changing your mindset. And it's just like, if I got a pig and I dress him in Gucci all the way down, that pig don't know nothing about no Gucci, don't care about no Gucci. When he see mud and he see crap, he about to go roll around in it. He don't care that that's a $4,000 shirt, a $4,000 belt. His mentality is, I'm about to go ahead and roll around in this crap and this dirt. And I love the fact that you keep saying that in order for anything to happen, you gotta have a mindset change. It ain't gonna happen if your mindset is the same. It's just like when you put brand new parks in communities and you got it all dressed up, all nice, but then in a week or two later, the park is destroyed. It's because the mindset of the community still hasn't changed. Nobody, what's somebody gonna do with soccer nets that they would tear down soccer nets? What was wrong with someone that destroyed swings that kids can swing on? It's a mindset thing. So until the mindset change in the community of the people, you can put anything you want in there. It's doomed to repeat itself. So I just want to get to those questions, y'all, and I'll see y'all. We're gonna wait. I'm waiting. Y'all got too many questions. I'm about to wait and get to these questions. So there's too many questions. So we're gonna go back. Now the first topic we want to have tonight is we kind of been talking about it, and you kind of hit on it anyway. You and Jordan both hit on it. It's the state of Black man's health, financially, mentally, and spiritually in the world today. I don't know which one of y'all want to go first with that. But that's what we want to talk about. Our first topic tonight is what's the state of Black man's health, financially, mentally, and spiritually in the world today, right now, as a whole.
Again, man, I think all of them is poor. It's poor for the majority. I mean, we see it in our communities. You guys have pointed to. You can't even put up a park because the park will get trashed and ransacked, and that's just a park. We're not even thinking about all the other institutions, the families that we have. And man, I don't know, man. Y'all just made me so scared. But if our mental isn't correct, if our spiritual isn't aligned, if our financial isn't aligned, I mean, there really ain't no point in being alive. Like, you're gonna die. It's a straight path to death. Like, there's got to be a big change, man. There's got to be a huge change. But I think I'm gonna always go financially. For me personally, I think social media, social norm, like Kevin had said a little bit earlier, wanting to be like the white man, getting money, but not investing it. As soon as you get something, you start. I see a lot of people start businesses. The business starts to do a little something, and immediately you see a new car, you see better clothes, you see, you know what I'm saying? It immediately goes out. It's not reinvested because the consciousness, the mental, isn't there to be self-confident, to be okay with yourself, to understand you can be humble. You don't have to show off to everyone else in your life to be, man. Go ahead, Kevin. That's my little portion, man. Y'all, I'm listening to this show.
Problem with Black men is very simple. We just got too many faggots in our society, because we got all of these mothers that have raised faggots. They're not raising no men. So, until mothers start raising men and start raising faggots, the state of Black men is not going to change. Ain't nowhere in the world you 6 years old and you should still be laying in the bed with your mama sucking on her titties. I mean, there's something wrong with that picture, because you so insecure as a mother, that you teaching your boy, you teaching him faggot tendencies. And so now all of a sudden, he 10 years old and he talking about, Mom, I want to wear a dress. Can I wear your heels? Where's your makeup? You created that monster. So now what you've done is you have taken away from the queens out there that are looking for husbands. You have taken away from them, and you have reduced the possibilities that they have because you couldn't deal with your own insecurities as a woman. And what you've done is you raised a boy, that has no ability to be able to contribute, any kind of strength to society because he's weak. He's weak mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, financially. He's weak because you made him that way, because you made him reliant and dependent upon you. So now here he is, 30 years old, and he can't even barely tie his shoes because that's what you raised. You created that. So we don't have no men out there. What we got little boys and grown men bodies. We don't have no men out there, and it is because their mothers have not raised them to be kings. Every man on this planet is a king, but you need a mother to raise you to be a king. And that's, when I think about my mother who's gone on to be with the Lord, my mother raised me to be a king. She ain't raised me to be no punk. She ain't raised me to be no sissy. She raised me to stand up. She raised me to speak up. She didn't take no crap off of me. She held me accountable. She didn't let me make no excuses. She was hard on me. And I used to ask her when I was young, I said, Mama, why are you so hard on me? She said, because I love you. And then I used to say, well, stop loving me so much because it's too hard. She said, you're going to appreciate it one day. And sure enough, I've appreciated it because now I'm a man. I'm not no boy. You can't push me around. You can't talk me around. You can't steal nothing. You can't take nothing from me. You can't even kill me. I am immortal in my mortal condition. That's way over a lot of people's heads, but it's just the way it is. You can't take anything from me unless I decide to give it to you. Well, see, that's the posture of a man. Well, if you don't have a mother that knows how to raise her son to be that way, then what you got is you got a bunch of little boys running around here crying every time something happens to them, crying. They go on the job, and it's like, first time that boss say something, I quit. I ain't got to take this shit. I quit, blah, blah, blah. Because you're a little boy. You don't know responsibility. You don't know accountability because you've been raised to be a boy all your life. You don't understand that a man has to be responsible. This is why the health of Black men is in the chaotic state it is. And this is why our sisters, this is why they're settling, and this is why many of them have turned out. They stop asking for it hard because hard has failed them. So now they just determine, I got to take it soft. That's the only way that I can get it. So it's because mothers are not raising their boys to be men. So that's how we fix the male presence in our society. We need women to realize that little poo-poo, tutu, BBD, whatever you calling him when he 1 or 2, that nigga gonna grow up one day, okay? And either he's gonna be a man or a menace. That's your choice. That's where we gotta start changing things.
So I was already waiting. I knew it was gonna be coming up. I was thinking the same thing, but a lot of the women are in the comments, and again, they're saying you can't just put that onus on women alone to raise these boys. These fathers, I mean, what is it, 70-something%, especially in the Black community, are growing up without a father in the household or, unwed. So, I mean, what do you feel about that there?
Well, see, and this is what I say to that. You got to understand the dichotomy of the male and the female relationship when it comes to the family dynamic. I didn't get my self-esteem from my father. I got my self-esteem from my mother. My father taught me how to work. He taught me how to use my mind. My mother built my self-esteem as a man. That is the relationship that parents have with their children. A daughter gets her self-esteem from her father. A son gets his self-esteem from his mother. That is how it works. Here's the problem with women. No, you are correct. You can't put the onus on women, but women have to understand. You have some women that'll tell you all the time, and they misspeak when they say, I had to be mother and father to my son. No, you did not. You can't be mother and father to your son. You can only be mother. You have to understand what your role is as a mother in your son's life. When you understand that, okay, then you're going to be able to raise a man. Okay, you can't pacify him. You can't make him soft. You can't go to bat to him all the time. You gotta let him take his lumps in life. You gotta let him go through. You can't rescue him. You can't save him all the time. Your job is to raise him. Here's something biblical. A lot of women don't understand this. Those women who've been in the church for a while and go to worship service, they're always talking about Proverbs 31. I want to be a Proverbs 31 woman. I want to be a Proverbs 31. Well, the book of Proverbs 31 was not even written to women. It was written to men. It was written by Queen Bathsheba, who married King David. It was written to her son Solomon. She told her son Solomon how he was supposed to be a king. The first 8 verses of Proverbs chapter 31 were all written to Solomon about how a king is to conduct himself. The last verses of Proverbs chapter 31 talked to Solomon about how to pick a wife. The whole chapter was written to men. So when women read that book, if they think that book is only for women, they are mistaken. That book was never written for women. It was written for men to give a mother a guide as to how to raise her son. Not only do most women don't know that, they don't even know how to put those practices into application. This is where we begin. A woman can only be a mother to her son. She cannot be a father. And when she tries to be a father to her son, she's going to make some mistakes, because the nature of a woman is not the nature of a man. The nature of a woman is to protect. The nature of a woman is to shield and to guide. The nature of a woman is to guard. We call that mother instinct. That's okay. The nature of a man is to build and to strengthen and to hold accountable and to challenge. Men don't, when men grow up and they don't have that, okay, then the lines become blurred. And this is why you have so many men who are soft, because their mothers have raised them the only way that they know how. So yes, we need those fathers. We always need those fathers. But that's a whole nother situation, because now we're talking about how come mothers and fathers can't stay together for the sake of their children. That's a whole nother topic of discussion, because here comes the real issue. We really got to deal with that. Then we understand the breakdown in the family.
Randy, I don't know if you could put this one up. Mackenzie, she just made another comment. I'm gonna read that aloud. She said, I don't feel like my child's sexuality is the main driver of his mindset and how he tackles the world. And in the event he did turn out to be homosexual, that is not something I forced him to be. So I want to touch on that just a little bit before I let you go, Kevin and Randy. I've had a number of friends that I've grown up with from, 18, 19, 20. I was on my own at 18, figuring it out. Those friends that I had were still sucking on their mom's titty. And I saw the difference. They couldn't unlatch. And I've had conversations with the mothers of my friends where, again, like you said, that protective instinct that mothers have, I've had it where they're like, I can't let him go. He won't do anything with his life, but I'm worried about him. You can't let him become a man. I'm like, you got to let that man, he got to figure it out at this point. He's not doing nothing with his life. He got to figure it out. But they couldn't let that go. And again, a lot of women think they're helping, their sons at that point. All you're doing is handicapping them. The world isn't going to be like you are. The world isn't here to protect him. He's got to be able to fight through that. Just wanted to share that real quick.
Mackenzie, his sexuality has everything to do with what he's supposed to be. That's why some people are born with a penis and some people are born with a vagina. That's not arbitrary. That is purpose by design. So yeah, you got to understand. Mothers don't always understand the purpose of their boy's penis, and until you begin to understand that, you're never gonna raise him to be what he's supposed to be. The purpose of a man's penis is to sow seed. That's it. That's what his penis is for. It's to sow seed. Well, what kind of seed do you want him to sow? You want him to sow weak seed. You want him to sow strong seed. That's all about the mother and how she raises her son to be. You might not force him to choose a homosexual lifestyle, but you certainly can contribute to his choices by, not holding him accountable and making him strong. Okay. So, when we talk about, mothers weakening their boys, some mothers, and God bless them, they're doing the very best that they can, but you got to take responsibility. You got to understand, again, you got to understand what your role is as a mother. Your role as a mother is to help your son understand why he has a penis. And until you can get that, he's going to be conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I think sometimes when it comes to things, especially when it comes to really mature conversations, everybody's not going to like everything that's said, and that's fine. That's fine. That's human nature. You don't have no one has to like everything that is said. But the other aspect of it, because I see a lot of it seems that what the way I'm feeling from a lot of the comments I got is from the gay aspect of it. I put it like this: if it don't apply, let it fly. If it doesn't apply to you, why get upset? I've always been told that if you get upset over comments that's being made, sometimes you're telling on yourself subconsciously. I think what we're trying to really get to a lot of women and men. Understand this: man and a woman, mother and father is both needed. But what's happened so bad is that one says, I don't need you. The other one says, I don't need you. But you got the kid in the middle say, I need you both. And I've said this so many times, all the time. The woman want to make it look like her job is more important. The man want to make it like his job is so much important. But you're both needed. So while you both bickering about trying to figure out who is the most important, who is the most needed, who does this, who does that, if you just both focus on doing your job. I was a big New England Patriots fan. And one of the best statements I love that he made all the time when he said to his players is, do your job. That means if you're on the line, you need to be blocking. Period. Run, wherever you have to do. Your running back's supposed to be running. The receiver's supposed to be catching. You're supposed to do everything that's within your job description. And the problem is that so many of us don't want to do that. I understand what we're saying is that, like, I got one comment right here. Steve, let me see. I'm reading what you said. You said, so what do you do when you love your child and a woman take him away from you and the system always thinks it's the dad's fault when you know you love your child and your kid to death? And Steve, you preach it to the choir. It's so many situations of good fathers out here that love it in the system that always depicts the father is in fault. Like we live like in Michigan. I don't know if you live in Michigan. Michigan is a big pro-woman state. It's huge for women when it comes to that. And because I've been through it and I understand it, I've been able to tell other guys about it. I've been able to walk them through it, let them keep their heads up because it's a hard situation when you want to be a father of your child and a woman for whatever reason don't want to let you do it. If she doesn't have just cause for you to do it. Mm-hmm. I believe firmly that two parents, you make a kid and y'all do it together, y'all both deserve to be in that child's life. Neither one of you should say who don't deserve this and who don't do more because it took both of y'all to make it. So in essence with that, I tell you like I would tell any other guy that asks me and everything else, you keep fighting for your kid. Because let me tell you something, at the end of the day, your kid is going to get older. Your kid is going to get to a point where they're going to get full, total recall and regulation about if you fought for them or not. This is why you don't ever have to badmouth anybody. You don't have to badmouth your baby mother to your child. You don't have to badmouth nobody because you know why? The kid eventually is going to get old enough to see for themselves. You don't have to do it. They eventually see, oh yeah, mama wasn't crafty. Oh yeah, dad wasn't crafty. I can see that. And I'm just telling you that the best way to do it, John, my man John, what's going on? It happens like that. But you go right down the line. Both of y'all deserve the custody of this child. Both of y'all did it together. What happens is that, this is why I say, when we were talking about relationships, is that if people came with labels on them and you had to sign a contract before sex, we would live in one of the most sexless nations in the world. People wouldn't have sex because you would see the warning labels of people. You'll see, oh yeah, at her worst state, she could be vindictive, evil, manipulative. You're like, oh yeah, I don't have no doubts about it. Some of you stupid people will still have sex with her. But if you had the ability to see that on someone, like to read it on them, like, hold on, before we hop in this bed, let me see your back. Let me see your warning lady. Let me look it up. Oh no, I can't deal with that. And all I would say, like, Steve, I see you. When you got a system like that, you got to keep fighting for your kid. I'm telling you. because been in that situation and getting your ducks in a row, and don't give up. I'm telling you, your kid one day will see this. Your kid one day will, I'm telling you, it is going to happen. You just fight. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm the kid. That's my dad.
Oh, yeah. They're going to see it. They're going to see it. I'm telling you. Steve, if you're going through that situation, bro, man, keep your head up. You have to keep going through it. I don't care what it is. Let me tell you something. I went to the hammer for my daughter. I'm the one that filed for divorce. And I had to make sure, I was like, all I want is joint. Divorce or whatever how it is, I don't know what your situation, can bring out the ugliness of people. Especially if they don't want to be with you no more, especially if they don't want you to leave. Things like that happen all the time, but you got to keep fighting. Keep fighting for your kid, man. And I wish you the best of luck. I ain't telling you I'm nothing. I ain't never told nobody else. Trust me. And I didn't have times, and like I ain't putting nobody's business out there. But my bro right here next to me, man, tough. And I remember he was done, man. He was like, man, I just think I'm gonna give up. I'm like, no, don't give up. This is a bad day. You had a bad day. You went to the courtroom, it was a bad day. And trust me, you stuck it out. And you keep sticking it out. And you're gonna eventually see the tide turn. But it just go back to round everything up. Just like my dad said down there, is that you gotta be willing to reinvest. You gotta be reinvest. Stop looking for such a quick return. It takes watermelons over, when you plant watermelons to actually start seeing the crop, like you said, like between 4 to 5 years to start seeing them sprout. You have to get to a point where you stop. I understand we live in a society where we think that microwave results happen all the time. It don't happen like that. Now, microwave failures, they come a dime a dozen. They just come boom, 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 boom. Everywhere you see is a failure. But you got to stick with it, man. Steve, man, stay with it, bro. Don't let it get down, because I see, we don't want, because I don't want the ladies to get on here thinking there's a certain way. We understand that it takes both a man and a woman to raise a child. But this is the problem that we have in the Black community. We despise accountability, but we love pointing the finger, pointing blame at everybody. Like, I'm like this because I didn't have a father. Well, what happened to all the other millions of young Black men that didn't have fathers, that come out to be excellent successes in their life, that come out to be great fathers, that come out to be great husbands? Stop using excuses. At the end of the day, you have a choice. This is what my thing is that I don't understand when people think that they can take away people's choice. God gave you free will. If he ain't taking my right to do anything, what makes you think you can take make me do anything I want to do? At the end of the day, you have a choice to what you're going to do in life, how you're going to act, how you're going to conduct yourself, and you got to stop blaming everybody for it. And like I said, I don't think nobody pointing the finger at women, but you got to remember, Jay, it's a lot of women out there. Come on, we got to keep it 100. There's a lot of women out there that do so much stuff. Now, and we ain't talking about, this ain't for, we ain't talking about the bad, we ain't talking about the good women. If you're good, then you're good. Mm-hmm. We talking about women who don't do their job. We talk about men who don't do their job. When you don't do your job, your kids suffer. So stop trying to point the finger. We're not trying to point it. Bad fathers need to be good fathers. Bad mothers need to be good mothers. And guess what? If you turn out that neither one of them ain't doing the job, you can't do both of their job. So do the best that you can as a man. Yep. Do your best as you can as a woman, and rely on God to take care of everything else, because at the end of the day, you can't be around your kid 24/7. Mm-hmm. But he can. That's all we can say at the end of the day. Period. Go be a good man, be a good woman, and stop trying to worry about everybody else. Like, it is a whole bunch of bum fathers out here. That's all we're trying to say. It's a bunch of bad women out here. We just want people to take accountability.
Yep.
Yep. And Steve, that's where it is. I want to put this, Steve, your man, I'm going to put this on there. I just love my son. It doesn't matter. I never blame his mom. That's the mentality that you need to have. You love your son, Steve, man. Keep fighting for him, brother. Keep fighting for him. Every time you go to court, every time you do everything, just keep having your ducks in a row. Don't give up, because one day he's going to find out how much you fought for him. Period. That's it. One day he gonna find out. I'm telling you, man. He gonna find out. You gonna find out, and you gonna get him. Trust me. You gonna get it. You gonna get it, bro. Man, y'all got some questions tonight, man. Let's go to this next one. Now this is a good one because I've been wanting to ask this. I know personally I've had this conversation with my dad a couple of times, and it's just in regards to mistakes. And I'm gonna tell you what I love about my dad the most. And see, so y'all don't think we talking junk. Man, my dad would just lay it to me, and I'd be like, oh. And he'll just tell me flat out, I'm about to do this. He's like, that's a stupid decision. I mean, he'll say it. It's a stupid decision. And every single time he's told me that. And when I thought I was going to do it, and that after he'll say, he didn't come across all mean and stuff. He'd come across calm. He said, that's a stupid decision, son. I wouldn't do it. I'm like, no, it just seemed right. Then all of a sudden, a couple of days, not that far down the line, come down, you find, boom, man, I dodged a bullet with that one. Guess what would have happened if I'd have been hard-headed and not listening and did it? I would have had myself screwed. But with a lot of black men, what are some of the biggest mistakes that black men make to put themselves in bad situations, such as financially, mentally, spiritually? What's some of the biggest mistakes they make, Dad?
Probably the number one mistake is thinking that you have to live your life trying to impress people rather than simply be who you are. That's probably 90%, 95% of mistakes that not just men but women make, is because you feel like you just have to impress people, to just be liked, to be accepted, to be appreciated, and you don't. So all the decisions that you make to try to impress people that don't even care about you. Why are you worried about what other people think about you? Why are you looking to other people to get your validation rather than you get your validation from within yourself? That is the crux of black men. It's like I said, why am I going out to Somerset and I'm seeing people stand in line for 2 hours to go into a Gucci store and to go into the Louis Vuitton store to buy stuff that they can't afford, only to take it back a couple of days later after they done been to the club to try to impress people that they got it and they ain't really got it? Why do that? Why do that? Because your self-esteem is based on what people say about you. And so a lot of the decisions and choices you make when it comes to spending money, when it comes to who you date, when it comes to all kinds of stuff, you're doing it simply because you're trying to impress people. And you think that the more people that are impressed with you, the more cred that's going to give you in your life and your persona and all that. So that's the biggest mistake. The second mistake is, not listening when people do come into your life to try to give you that wisdom. You don't want to listen because you feel like you got all the answers, because you feel like you know everything. So you don't really want to listen to wisdom. You just want to do what you want to do. You just want to do it your way because you think that your way is the right way. So you don't want to listen to wisdom. And so you got to make mistakes when you don't listen to wisdom, because, when you don't listen to wisdom, that means that you're foolish, and fools make mistakes, and, the Bible says that the words of a fool's mouth call for blows, you're going to get these hands. You don't listen to wisdom, you're going to get these hands, and anybody can get them. And the third mistake people make is the fact that, you gotta stop, thinking that, everybody in the world is against you and that people are just trying to stop you from doing stuff. That's just stupid. And nobody's against you. Nobody's trying to stop you from enjoying life or having life. Most people are for you. There are more people for you than against you. You go around this attitude like, where everybody's against me and nobody's for me. Nobody wants me to do it. Nobody wants me to have, so just to get everybody, you can't live your life thinking that you can live by yourself, that you can live isolated. You can't live an isolated life. You can't live by yourself. Everybody needs somebody. And so when you add all of those things together and you make your decisions and choices for your life based on all of those things, you're going to always make bad choices. You're going to always make mistakes. Because you got to realize that your self-esteem does not come from without, it comes from within. When people give you wisdom, they give you wisdom because they love you. and that nobody is trying to hold you up. Most people want you to have a good life, but you got to realize that, and stop being so angry. We got so many angry people. You got to stop being so angry and deal with the cause of your anger, because if you don't deal with the cause of your anger, it's going to cause you to miss out on relationships that you need in order to help your life become productive and prosperous. So that's why we make a lot of bad choices. That's why we make a lot of mistakes. Can we overcome them? Absolutely. But we got to start with dealing with those things first, and you got to be honest about each of those three areas in your life. Why don't I want to listen to people? Why do I feel like I have to impress folks, with all of this stuff, and why am I so angry? What's driving all that? You got to deal with all those things within yourself first, and then that would be the beginning of the process of helping you to start making some better choices and better decisions.
So I had another question for you after that. Again, the first thing you brought up was really, it seemed like self-confidence, being self-aware. For men that are in their 20s, 30s, and above, that are without that right now, how can they go about building that in themselves?
So the first thing you have to do is you have to understand that you just didn't evolve, and this is really important. You got to understand that you did not evolve, that you actually created, and because God created you, He designed you, and because He designed you with a purpose. And that purpose is very special and dear to Him. And that purpose is very dear and special to you. And everything about you was uniquely created, and everything about you was uniquely designed. And you have to understand that. Again, where does the breakdown, where does the fallout begin? It goes back to the parents. Okay. You gotta let your children know who they are from the very beginning, from the time that not even from the time they come in the world, when they're in the womb. You got to begin to start letting your children know how special and how wonderful they are, because when they get into the world physically, everything that you spoke to them while they were in that womb is going to begin to start transforming them and shaping their character. So we got to understand who we are, and we got to understand that I'm created. And here's the other thing you got to understand: if nobody in the world likes me, that's okay. It's okay if folks don't like you. It really is. It's okay, because the success of your life is not dependent upon who likes you. As a matter of fact, the success of your life has very little to do with who likes you, because most of the people that you worry about trying to impress, when you really need those people, they're not going to be there anyway. So you got to understand that God created you. You didn't evolve. He created you, and He created you and designed you specifically. He created you and designed you purposely, and there's nobody else on this world like you, and that is also by design. That's where the foundation of our self-esteem comes from. And we got to hear that communicated to us often enough until it begins to start sinking in, and again, changing that broken mindset.
Mm-hmm. Man, I feel it. Whew.
Oh, yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right on. I know we got so many comments. I kind of want to read over. I've been putting them down as we go. I just got so many of them going through. I know John says one of the things says that you got to disconnect from negativity immediately. Mm-hmm. God loves you. I see that out there. Words have power. Whatever you recite shows up. I love that.
Big, yeah, that's a big one.
Woo! John, you're gonna be the quote of the day on Unfiltered.
No, that's a big one for sure.
John Ball hard.
That's good, John. John put up there. The only reason I'm gonna put John on there because I feel bad for John because he's about to get an iPhone 4. 12. I'm sorry, an iPhone 12. I think. And it's the 12, John. It's the 4. I'm just letting you know, but this is. You pay for whatever you want to. So, let's hop right back into that. So what are some of the next questions? Well, we went through the biggest mistakes. What's some of the best moves that Black males can make to improve their growth in those areas?
This is very easy and very simple. You must connect with a mentor. You got to do that. You got to have a black man in your life who is pouring into you on a regular basis, keeping you grounded, giving you wisdom, showing you how to do. Randolph, I'm telling you, Randolph is my son. I pour in him all the time. And if you follow him on Facebook and you will see me all the time. He'll say stuff. And if I don't like it, I'll say, nope, not today. Ain't doing it, ain't flying. I think not. Why? Because being a good father means that I praise you when you do well, but then I check you when you don't. Absolutely. And you got to be mature enough to be able to understand. Well, but see, most men don't have that. So you got to have that person in your life so that you can say, hey, what do you think about such and such and such? And get their buy-in. Just don't go doing stuff, before you get, some advice and counsel. So that's how you correct a lot of mistakes. Most men, they just go out and they start doing stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna start this business and blah, 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 blah. Do you even know how to start a business? The 7 principles of successful entrepreneurship. I can tell you those 7 principles because I wrote about them in my book. So it's like, do you know what those principles are? How do you do that? Do you know what the purpose of money is? Do you know the purpose of currency? Do you know why? Some folks don't even know why currency was even created. You gotta look at the foundation of money and why money was even created in the society. All of that goes into preparing you to be better economically, socially, and seeing all of that. And then what you begin to do is you begin to start looking at other cultures and other races, and then you understand, why do they have money and I don't have money? Because they understand the purpose of money. They understand the purpose of currency. They understand the foundation of economics, okay? Because somebody has taught them. And so now they have that. So you got to have that person. That's how you fix it. You just can't be going out here, just flying, doing everything, willy-nilly. You got to have somebody that is investing and pouring into you on a regular basis. I have many, many sons, many sons. Randy is, he's one of my oldest sons, and the son, that my wife and I call him my son. He calls my wife Ma. He's been in our life a long time. But they're younger sons. God sends people to me every single day. I got a young man right now that I'm mentoring. He used to be in a gang, one of the most notorious gangs in the world. I'm breaking him down. I'm resetting his mind so that he can do, what he's supposed to do with his life. He's made phenomenal changes in just a few weeks that we've been meeting. You got to have that person. If you don't have that person, okay, then, you're just going to be trusting yourself a lot of times. You got to have somebody that's helping you to determine your life's purpose. That's key.
I had to let it breathe, man.
It's awesome. It's the great thing. And also, and then what you're saying that too is that a lot of people don't understand is that helps your self-esteem. And I know some people won't get that to this point. How can someone telling you no or that's a bad idea help your self-esteem? It's because you get an understanding that that correction is not criticism. That you got to understand that is that when somebody loves you, they're going to correct you because they want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. They want to make sure that you're going on the right course. If somebody, it's the biggest thing in the world. And I say this all the time: when somebody lied to you, they absolutely don't love you. When someone just say yes to everything that you say, they don't even have your best interest at heart. When somebody care about you enough to say, no, that's not good. I wouldn't do that if I was you. And that's the sign of a good friend. Like you said, having a mentor and having an excellent male role model in your life to do that. I'm a prime example of what it can do and what it has done and what it continues to do. Because you check yourself. I'm never afraid to ask my dad, what do you think of this? And I'm not afraid to hear the answer. Because if you want to go far in life, you want to make sure that you're going on the right path. And I think so many people get so in their feelings, which go back to people being raised, go ahead, you can do whatever you want to do. You can have this any way you want to have it. when you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Anything you want to. And that's what, just in case a lot of the, like some of the women want to know, that's what we mean by faggots. When you raise them so sensitive, like they got to have their way at every aspect. They got to be able to do everything they want to do, have it when they want to have it, throw temper tantrums when they can't get it. Because I see it all the time, especially with a lot of young men, and they raised by single women sometimes. And I just look, I'm just like, let me digress this back. I got an incredible mother. Dorothy Johnson, strongest woman I ever met in my life, and I'll still say it to this day. Woman will do everything. I remember at one time, my very first car that I got came for her. And I'm thinking she was going to hand me the keys. She didn't hand me the keys. She handed me a piece of paper with a contract that said how much I had to pay a month until it was paid off with her, saying that I had to keep this insurance on it this whole time. And then I had to sign it to show proof. And what that did for me is that her not giving me anything by instilling in me a sense of pride. You don't understand that kind of stuff that instills in a man when you understand that he didn't give me that. I did what I needed to do to get that. And this is what I think we miss it so much in doing everything, trying to do the things the right way that we can do, is that just like when you were saying, and Jordan, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk too. But when individuals are trying to do things better in life, you gotta not be afraid. It's like what I say, you can't be afraid of failure, because sometimes people think that failure is the end. All I learned when something don't go right is what not to do again. It's not going to be a repeat step. Like it's just like in football. Anybody that's ever played football before? If you realize you get out there on the field, you see a guy, you keep trying to hit him, and you go at the same time. Like every time I try to go up high, this guy found a way to jerk. I'm doing moving, get me out of it. You eventually learn to sit back and say, yeah, maybe I need to stop going high at this guy. Maybe I need to go a little bit lower. Maybe I need to go to midsection. Maybe I need to adjust my stance. And that's what we need to learn how to do in life when you have, like, when so many people, the word failure come into play, is that you got to understand that all failure is saying, hey, this is not what you want to do. Go back to the drawing board, correct it. Just don't do that again. So I see, like, just to add in on what some of the things you're saying, having a good male mentor and having people with you, I think is that not being afraid of failure, but most importantly, being wise in the things that you do. Any decision that you go into, you got to be wise into it. That's why it's important for you to have a good mentor, a good mentor. We ain't just talking about a mentor that you like what you see, what they got in life, and you go to them. Because everybody that got what they got in life didn't get it the right way and doing the right way to get it. So everybody ain't good to have a mentor. That's a big responsibility. You want to have somebody that will have some integrity and things of that nature. So, Jay, I don't know if you got anything to say on that before we get to the other one.
No, I don't got nothing to say. I'm listening.
And this one, I think the ladies will really like, because this is something that is I really think this is one of the biggest problems that a lot of black men have. I see it so often, present company included. What can black men do to make better choices in women?
I'll jump in on this one. I think the first one is sex. Don't have it. I mean, and that's real. It may sound a little old, you know what I'm saying? Don't have sex, but seriously, don't have it. Especially, I mean, if you are really truly, looking for someone to share your life with, and you're in the building stage where you want to do all of that, man, I think you really got to leave it alone for as long as you actually can, because it gets back to, you got to talk, and not just about the bullshit, but really figure out a person. Hey, what are you about? You know what I'm saying? What's the actual plans? I know a lot of people can put up smoke and mirrors and make you think, that their life is headed in a certain area, or their head is on their shoulders and they're thinking right. But with time, the truth comes out. But when you start having sex and that good hit you, you be locked in. 2-3 years done pass, 4 years done pass, and you still lost in that relationship. It's not really, moving where you're supposed to go. So again, man, I think sex is the biggest one. You gotta leave it alone.
Yeah.
That's the biggest for me, man. I think
that's the killer of most black men when they go out test driving. I mean, it's like I would say test driving, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's like you get out there and then you get mad when you didn't, when it's like you go out there, you messing around, and now you got a hold of her. Now, if no matter what happens, if she ends up being the headache that you kind of knew in the first place a little bit, now you get mad at her for being the headache, but it's like, yeah, you kind of knew that, you kind of knew what you was getting into, you saw it already. But I think a lot of it is that what you were just hitting on is, a lot of that is just big time communication. In this day and age of social media, talking about social, what is really the anti-social media. Everybody think they can say everything they can in 147 characters. And you try to think about communication. People, men and women, just simply don't know how to communicate. Majority of them anymore, especially like the young ones. They don't know how to talk to each other no more. In a text, it's like if we send a text out that said hello, and I put it in all caps, and I send it to 20 people, 20 people gonna have a different reaction to it. One person gonna be like, dang, why are you yelling? Oh, you serious about this? Oh, what's wrong? It's gonna be a whole different things. That communication, to actually be able to sit down and have a communication with a woman. Now, woo! I'm not. And again, let me give a disclaimer, even though I shouldn't have to give this disclaimer to women. We ain't referring to all women. So if it don't apply, let it fly. If we ain't talking about all men, if it don't apply, let it fly. But communication with some of these people out here, it is completely, it's like outside of looks and sex, some women have completely nothing to offer. I'm done on that one.
So here's the question. The question was, what can we do to make better choices in relationships? And I hear that question correct? Is that where we are right now?
Yep.
So this is unfiltered, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna go back, then I'm gonna go forward. I told my son, when my son was old enough to understand English, I told him this very simply. I said, first, I'm talking about my natural son, Malcolm. I said, first come love, then come marriage, then come Malcolm with the baby carriage. So first thing you have to do is you got to teach the order of relationships. All in love, then you get married, then you have children. That's the order. That ain't gonna never change. The problem in the African American community is we don't raise our children in that order. In fact, most children don't even grow up even thinking that marriage is even a part of the equation. They think that it's natural, they're almost expected that they're going to have children before they get married. And sadly, they even expect that they might not ever get married. The other thing, the expectation is that they're going to have drama because they have been filled with this lie that, men don't want to be responsible fathers and women don't be responsible mothers. And that's a lie. So you got that in the back of your head. Then the third thing is because you don't really believe that marriage is even a part of your future, you don't raise your children for marriage. You raise your children for sex. You prepare your children to have sex. You don't prepare your children to have marriage. So what do? When your daughters start, when they start menstruating, first thing you do is you go put them on birth control. You don't talk to them about marriage. You don't talk to them about sexual responsibility. You put them on birth control because your expectation is that they're gonna be having sex. So they might as well be on some birth control so that they don't get pregnant. You take your sons, rather than talking about sex, what do? You take them to CVS, you take them to some other pharmacy, you buy them a box of condoms. Why? Because you feel they're gonna have sex. You don't put marriage in the equation. When you don't teach our children the proper structure for relationships, then what we do is we handcuff them at a very, very young age. So the decisions that they make are not based on the structure of a sound relationship. They're based on what they've seen, what they've heard, what they've been taught, what they've seen on television, what they've seen in the media, what they do on social media. So that's what they see. So they make their choices based on what they see, and they believe that that is a normal way of life, and it's not a normal way of life. So they grow up, all they know is, it's like, man, you see her cakes. She is caked up and caked out, man. She is yummy, 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 yummy. She's come from Amsterdam. She is good. Man, look at the yams, bro. Look at the yams, man. Man, I'm about to hit them cheeks. I'm about to be a savage in the sheets. And that's why young people, that's what their mind is. They're a monster with the meats, savage in the sheets, and they feel like that's what it's all about. So they're looking at each other lustfully, but they're not taking the relationship they don't even think about taking the relationship to the next level. So and I hear it and I see it all the time, and it's sad that and so this is how we make our choices, and this is how we make our decisions. So when I'm looking at a female, most of our young men, when I'm looking at a female, I'm not thinking about the future as being her husband or her being my wife. All I'm doing is just looking at her cakes, and it's like, I'm figuring out a way how to give her this elephant trunk because, that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and bro, going out there, I'm gonna get the cookie to the cookie to God, and that's what he said, because the structure of relationship is missing a key component, which is marriage. So yeah, you find that female that you love, fall in love with her, that's good. Marry that woman. You love her, marry her. Don't make her a notch on your bedpost. You marry her. But see, our young men are not taught that, so they just keep making the same problem over again. And see, what happens is the sisters end up getting their hearts broken, and so now they begin to start labeling all men. And then all men, they carry this label, and all men, like you already said, son, all men are not that way, all women are not that way. But what else do you have to go with? We got to change the narrative in our relationships. I talk about the dynamic. We don't even have time to get to it because the dynamic is so powerful. But I'm going to summarize the dynamic this way. From the time that white children come into the world, they are taught the order of the relationship. And the reason they're taught the order of relationship, because the strength of the relationship is going to determine their economic prosperity. That's it. So they're taught that from the time that they're early. I know because most of my business clients are white, and I watch how they treat their children. I watch how they raise their children. They teach them what is called the dynamic. I've labeled it the dynamic because they don't want anybody messing with their bread. We don't teach our children the dynamic. So that's why our children grow up poor and they struggle, because you need the dynamic in order to strengthen we've been talking about economics a lot. You need the dynamic in order to help your economic foundation. The dynamic is key. The reason that I married my wife for several reasons. One of the primary reasons that I married my wife was because I understood the dynamic, and I realized that if I didn't marry my wife, economically, I would not be the man that I am. It would be impossible. Why? Because I needed my wife to complete the formula so that I can be the financial success that I need to be. There are very few women that can do that. Why? Because my wife understands the dynamic. She understands that. So it's like we have to do this because we cannot contribute what we need to contribute, not just to our family, but to society, unless we do certain things the right way. So a lot of the discipline that I had financially, I didn't get a lot of that until after I got married, because my wife already had understood the dynamic, because her people had money. So she already bought money into the relationship. She didn't bring no bills. She didn't bring no debt. If she did bring debt, she paid it off herself. She didn't expect me to pay it off, because she understood the dynamic. This is where we got to go. And so then she said, honey, this is what you need to do. It just took my whole understanding of finances to another level. Not that I didn't have them, because my father had already taught me a lot, but it took me to another level, the level within the dynamic. We got to understand that the relationship between a black man and a black woman, it has very little to do with sex. Sex is the icing on the cake. It's the dynamic that we have not taught our children. So again, so we handicap them from the very beginning, because we talked to them about condoms, we talked to them about birth control, but we don't talk to them about the dynamic, and that's why they make the wrong choices in men and women. So our young men are not looking, they're not looking for women who are stronger than them, because again, they don't have that self-esteem. So they're not looking for a woman stronger than them. They're not looking for a woman that's going to tell them no. They're not looking for a woman that's going to check them. They're not looking for a woman that's going to align their character. They're not looking for a woman like that. They're looking for a woman that's going to, tell them whatever they want to hear and give them whatever they want to get. And women, they're not looking for a man that, that can compliment them and strengthen them and lead them and build up their self-esteem and help them become a better woman and really help them to develop that queenly virtue. They're not looking for a man like that. All they're looking for a man is that they can just satisfy them sexually, to just bring out the ultimate hoe in them. That's what they're looking for. We got to change the dynamic in our relationships, black men and black women. And we got to stop, with all of this, all of this sexual innuendo. There's so much more than just that. Jay was right. Stop having it. But you got to understand, there's nothing wrong with sex. But if you have sex outside of the dynamic, all it's going to do is destroy you.
Man, I tell you, the part that stuck out, it was so many good points. But the biggest one that I really took out of it was the fact that you said something that's absolutely true. And I see it all the time, is that I would dare to say almost 80 to 90% of black men don't want a woman that's stronger than them.
That's a fact.
It just blew me away, because it's like, I've seen it. Guys don't want a woman. Majority of guys, they're like, I don't want a woman that's stronger than me, because it's like some blow to their ego. But I'm like, why wouldn't you want a woman who is an even bigger warrior than you? That's my thinking of it. Why would you want someone that? Because she got to be a helpmeet anyway. So if you drop the ball, she already got her responsibilities. Why wouldn't you want a woman that, when you need her at her most, would be just as strong and even stronger, being your helpmeet? That kind of it fly over my head. That why wouldn't you want a strong woman? Why do you think most men don't want a strong woman? I really want to get on that, because that kind of gave me a right hook to the head, because I've noticed that a lot of men are afraid of strong women. We ain't talking about domineering, want to wear the pants women. We talking about strong women in spirit and mentality, mentally, just in that way. We're not talking about where she don't think she needs a man. We talking about a true woman of strength. Why do you think most men, black men, are afraid of a true woman of strength?
I think you had said it, man.
Accountability.
Go ahead, Sil. Go ahead, Sil.
No, you go ahead. I just said accountability is not valued in our culture. If you have a strong woman like that and that's going to check you and going to get you together,
then you see it a lot of times with some of these guys. They blow up, get angry because it's like, wait a minute, you ain't supposed to tell me nothing. You supposed to hold me down and hold me down. You know, buy me what I need or do what I say. But if you get accountability in the issue, then you have to self-reflect. Then you have to take down and say, I need to get my stuff together. And I'm in that place where they want to do it.
I totally agree with everything you said, Marcel. Also, to add to that, like Mr. Kevin, like I said, thank you for being on the show. It's a stroke to it's a stroke to our ego. If we feel like we have somebody strong, and that one day we are in a vulnerable position, or we are in a position where we need them to help us, and we think that one day they may bring it up, that we don't feel like we're that man anymore, or that masculinity is gone, or that sense of control is gone because this woman has done this or helped you. To which, like I said, if I'm down, I want the best help. I want the best for me. And why not let that be my wife? Or why not let that be the woman that's going to be in my corner? So with guys, it's pretty much like, hey, if this person helped me, I'm indebted to you. So it's kind of like a blow to our ego.
I think it goes right back to it. I think everything starts from the beginning. I mean, the dynamic of, from the mother to the son, or the father to the son, and that self-esteem and that self-confidence. If it's not built up from the start, obviously, when you're an adult and you don't have that within yourself, why would you try to find a woman that's stronger than you, or that's an actual strong woman? Because all that's going to do is hurt you. So you avoid it with every, morsel in your being.
See, you got to look at your examples. The examples that we have in our society are not the kind of constructs that really help us build good relationships. And because we don't have enough of those examples, you can only make choices based on what you see. You can only make choices based on what you hear. And so we are struggling for good examples because they're few and far between, because we just don't see what the dynamic looks like in the African American community. We see what it looks like in the white community and other communities, but see, for us, we don't think that that's normal for us. But it is normal, and it should be normal, and it should be expected. I should tell my daughter, and if I'm a black man and I'm raising a daughter, I tell her, you're going to get married. You ain't giving up no cookies before you get married. That is just the way it's going to be. And why? Because I help her understand the economy of sex. Sex is economics, so I help her understand that. We're not teaching our children economics on any platform, but the economics of sex, that's at a whole nother level. That's a whole nother discussion, because sex has crippled our communities economically. I even saw today, I said, damn, another one. It's just, we don't understand that. We gotta begin to start teaching the dynamic to our young children, because all our young boys are doing out here is just slinging seeds, and it's just and every time you do that, all you're doing is you're just popping up another child. But what you're doing is you're hindering yourself and that child economically. It's not about satisfying your loins. You can always do that. It's about understanding the economics of your choices in relationships. So you want a strong woman, because a strong woman she's going to hold you economically accountable. A strong woman is going to hold you accountable in other ways. A strong woman is going to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do, so that both of you together can do what you're supposed to do. And see, again, if a woman feels like the only reason that she needs a man is to buy her stuff, then that means that she really doesn't understand herself, and she doesn't understand him, and she doesn't understand the purpose of the relationship. She doesn't understand the dynamic of the relationship. Okay, you don't need him to buy you stuff. If you're where you're supposed to be, you can buy your own stuff. That's not why you need him. You don't need him to buy you stuff. You don't need him to to pay your bills. You don't need him to put a house, over your head, or, put some rims on. You don't need him for that. You need him because the dynamic of your society is contingent upon you making the right choice in a mate. And as long as you continue to make bad choices because all you're concerned about is satisfying your sexual energy, and all you're going to do is just keep putting yourself behind, and you're going to watch other cultures and other races go ahead of you, and you're going to sit back and complain and talk about, the white man did this and blah, blah, blah. It ain't got nothing to do with that. The white man, it ain't got nothing to do with that because the white man ain't doing nothing to you. It's the choices that you're making because you don't understand the dynamic like they do. So that we gotta change. It goes back to what we said at the very beginning. We've got to change our mindset and our approach to relationships so that we can begin to start reversing the social economic disparity. When we begin to do that, we're going to see a lot of things change for us socially, economically, mentally. All of our communities will begin to change. That's what we got to do. We got to change that. This is why you need a man. This is why you need a woman. We got to begin to change that definition and change that narrative, and then things are going to start being better. That's where it's got to start.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I understand. I think Jordan, Mac. I'm sorry, Mac might be coming back. I don't know. Oh, yes, he is. Hold on. I want to bring Mac back because this question is for him and Jordan too, because they have daughters. I know with myself, I have a daughter, and one of the biggest things that I noticed with my daughter, I know Mac can attest to this, and my dad can attest to it too. Marcel can attest to it too. Is that I've always raised her to be. Every time I talk to her, I've never sugarcoated anything to my daughter. I've always been real, truthful, and how I carry myself. I carry it out not just in front of everybody else, but especially in front of her, because I always wanted her to see an example of what a man is supposed to do, the conduct of a man. That if something is wrong, right, you're talking to, hey, beautiful, hey, baby girl. And what happens is that I've always told her that and advised her in life that the reason why I pour so much into you is because I want to make sure that no matter what you come in contact to in life, that you have those fundamentals and those values to stand on. Because at the end of the day, as much as all fathers who got daughters would love to be around their daughter 24/7, be everywhere, trying to make sure they're doing fine, doing this, doing that, and any child, you can't. You absolutely can't. And as they get older and older and older they get, and as the older they get, the more they develop, whether it be with friends, physically, mentally, however they gotta go. You just trust and believe that how you teach them and where you be in and have them at. I believe that I'm a firm believer in you have to display what you're trying to tell them to do. If I want to tell my daughter, I want you to, when I describe to her about men, I say, Dad, I want to be your minimum standard for what a man should be. Because I want you to have someone 10 times better than me. But in the same token, it's just like what you said there. Like I put in there, like, marriage is a great thing. I was like, marriage is a good thing for you. But one thing I want you to do first is I want you to remember order of life. Dad, I don't know if you remember you told me this. And I told the guys from the show one time. I remember you telling me about the order of life, the priorities that you have in life. I don't know if you remember this conversation.
Yeah.
And I first said, God, number one.
Yep.
And then I said, then comes my wife. And you said, no, that's not how I go. And I was like, what? And you said, you're next. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, what do you mean why will I be next? Because we have, like you said, we have this dynamic that we don't we don't think it's all off. And he said, because if you're not together, if you're not happy, how in the world can I take care of or display that to anyone else and I'm not in that appropriate spot? And I remember that, and that stood with me. And I've said, I know Jordan and Mac, I'd have said it so many times on the show, like, this is the order of life. I'm next because I gotta be well. I gotta be happy. Because if I'm not, it's gonna pour off on everybody else in the family. They're gonna see it. So when I told her that, you have God first, and then you should be next. You need to make sure that you're happy in life. I said, I realized when I turned 20, I got married relatively young. I think I was 25. I got married too young. I can't deny to nobody. I shouldn't have got married until I was I ain't gonna lie, maybe over 33. I really believe that. I should have never got married that young. And you make the mistakes of doing things because being in your 20s, I didn't know what I wanted next. I didn't know the things I really wanted to do. Like, being a good guy is okay, but I still had things that I was still trying to figure out. And what happened, that poured off in my marriage. My own goals and my own ambitions, it poured off in my marriage. And sometimes she got lost in the track of it. So, I think in most cases, that when you have those type of situations, when you're trying to pick a good, woman, and things of that nature, I know that everybody said the biggest thing is it's just some criteria. I know we said sex. I know we said that, and that's always a hindrance. What I also believe is that, and I show in so many ways that if y'all, you gotta, the biggest one, you gotta like each other. You gotta like the person that you with. If you don't like the person you with, it's not a chance in hell y'all gonna survive. You're not gonna survive. How can you be with somebody, say, because you can love somebody and not like them. Like, I love them, but man, I don't particularly care for them. But when you like somebody, you're willing to go through things with them. That's why, friendships, true friendships last so long, because you like this person. You like the person that you're with. And I just remember when I got to a point where I didn't like my wife. I was like, man, I do not like you. I was mad. I was angry. It felt like being in a house with a roommate that you want to kick out because they don't pay rent. I'm paying for her. I feel like I'm paying for everybody. Like, I'm paying for like 4 or 3 kids in this bad boy. And I just know that that's a big one, because I see so many people, they get in relationships with people and they don't like them. You don't like them. They in love with the money, like you said. They're in love with things that people have. Like, they might be in love with somebody because they might be have a lot of notoriety, celebrity. People know them everywhere they go. People associated with them. They might have money, might be sex. It might be the things that can get you, but you don't like them. Like, I already don't like this person. So I think that's like a big thing. I think a lot of men don't like the women that they with sometimes, and then they get mad because they don't like them. Like, it's your fault. I'm a firm believer in not complaining about people that you pick. Like, how in the world can I go in good conscience and be mad? Like, man, my ex-wife was horrible. Nobody put a gun to my head. I picked her. I'm the one who got on one knee in front of the whole church and said, "Will you marry me?" It wasn't no shotgun wedding. It wasn't none of that. I made that choice. I think people, that aspect, need to stop blaming their exes for everything. Like, you had a hand in it. You picked them. So, me as a man, I just realized that because I could have been stuck in my ways, speaking from anybody out there that's ever been divorced before. Sometimes when you get divorced, you get in a state of anger, regret, and then you can get stuck living in your past, trying to figure things out, and you always thinking about everything the other person did wrong. Well, I got absolute healing from and was able to move on and be better in my life is I stopped thinking about the things she did wrong, and I started thinking about some of the things that I did wrong. So that way I wouldn't repeat myself in the next relationships that I would be in. So that way I can be free, because I can't control what the next person do. None of us can control what the next person gonna do. We can only control what we do in every situation and how we do it. And you just hope and pray that in some cases that you don't do some things, but you never know unless you're there. But I just think that one of the biggest things, like you said, when it comes to picking the right women, I think a lot of guys, we got to get out of the. We got to get out of the look aspect of things, because a lot of guys lose track and forget that they look at a woman that they think is pretty, but they tend to forget that it's just like a gift. Anybody can put a box around, put a gorgeous and beautiful wrapping paper around a box and make it look like it's something inside of it. But we can't forget that the real gift is on the inside of the box. It ain't the wrapping paper. So you got a lot of guys around here that get fascinated and in love with wrapping paper. Then they open up the box and they realize there's a big pile of crap in there. And then you get mad at them. Because you so enraptured by everything you see on the outside that you never took the opportunity and the responsibility and the accountability to get to know what was on the inside. Because pretty ain't enough. I like that, John. Pretty ain't enough. It's gotta be more. It's gotta be more. Because pretty women, if that's the case, Halle Berry would never be divorced. If that's the case, Janet Jackson would never been divorced. All these women that you see out here that's like physically gorgeous, they would never be divorced. So that's why that's my big thing. I think that people just need to get out of such stop the vanity. A lot of guys get into vanity. They don't care. They will go with a woman that is gorgeous but has been ran through by hundreds of other men. And personally, that's not nothing I'm interested in.
Do you want a wife?
Yeah.
Or do you just want the juice box? You gotta be honest about that.
Yep.
And you gotta be honest about where you are in your mental development. Before I got married, I had plenty of juice boxes, multiple juice boxes, all kinds, all colors, just different depth, puddles everywhere, drip, drip, drip. But when I was 26, I realized that, what? I can't keep going like this.
What age did you say?
Who?
What age did you say?
26. I said, I can't keep going like this. I got a future. There's a destiny I got. I got to start looking for that woman that's going to be with me on my journey for life. And that's what I did. But it took me another 10 years before I found her, because I wasn't going to be deceived by all of these others, who thought that they were going to be Mrs. Binion. And there were multiple counterfeits. No, she ain't the one. No, she ain't the one. No, she ain't the one. But then when I met my wife, I just locked in. It's like, that is the one right there. And I locked her down immediately. And we ain't dated for no long time. We dated for 4 months. And then I asked her to marry me, and we were married a year later, because I knew she was the one that I needed to be with me on my journey.
How long you been married, sir?
20 years this year.
All right.
20 years this year, and Randy will tell you, y'all think I'm bad. Mine is hardcore.
Oh,
Mine is
put a triple X on this bad boy. Mine was on here. He was like, oh man.
I was mild tonight. Mine is hardcore.
Yeah.
So, but see, that's because that's the woman that I need. Mine, she don't play. She don't take no mess. She keep me in check. And she has strengthened my ego, because I realized that she wouldn't have done any of that if she didn't love me.
Exactly.
I look for a wife. That's what I look for. That's a wife. That's a wife. And my wife has been through hell with me over these 20 years. We've had great moments, but then we had some low moments. Why? Because I was not afraid to have a woman who was stronger than me in my relationship, because that wasn't going to affect my ego. So that's good. That's what you need. That's what a strong man needs. Every king needs a queen, and that's what a queen does. She helps him rule his kingdom. I have a kingdom. she's helping me rule my kingdom. So we gotta think about where we are, but then we gotta think about where we want to go. And if you want to go a particular place, then there's only one woman that can take you there, and that's a wife, and that's what you got to begin to look for. So, that's how we got that's how we got to do it, and it can be done. But again, it goes back to what we've been saying a long time. We've got to change our mentality, and begin to start looking for the right characteristics in women. Forget about the cakes, forget about the yams, forget about the cheeks. What does she have on the inside of her that is going to last when everything else fails? Okay. What is she going to have? So, you're going around all the time, and it's, all you looking at and is PTTO poking that thing out. I mean, if that's all you looking at, that's what you're going to get, because there's a lot of women that's going, there's a lot of women that's going, that's all they want to do. That's all a hoe. That's all she want to do. She ain't thinking about nothing else. But if you want a wife, somebody's going to be there with you, then she values herself inside and outside. You don't want to marry no dog. That dog. She values herself inside and outside. And that's what you got to look for. You got to look for those characteristics. So when we begin to start changing that, males and females, we begin to start changing what we look for, then we're going to have better relationships. We're going to have relationships that are going to be long lasting.
A lot of preaching, man.
I've been tuned to this podcast when it started. I know I wasn't on it, but this is the Shut Up and Listen podcast. Everything you've been saying, like, I just been tuned in. And just some of the stuff you were saying before, like having a great male role model regularly in your life is how it affected, which, in the words that you were saying, and like, how can a church teach us financially when they don't know things financially? Just some of those things that you have been hitting on, it's just been key. And like I said, Randy, I'm so disappointed at you because you kept this from us for so long. I'm so disappointed at you, sir. So we got to talk, because this is what we needed. Just like, and it was raw, uncut, and just like straight to the point. Like, you know how people feel about Obama, you know what I mean? But like, just to say, like, hey, what has he done for black people? And it's up to us as black people to go ahead and help each other. Like, all these things have been hitting on this. It's been a real good treat. And like I said, this is just a shut up and listen to you kind of podcast. So we definitely appreciate you.
For sure.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be here, and yeah, y'all get on Randy, because I've been saying, Randy, when you gonna have me on the show? Randy, when you gonna have me on the show? So
you need that part 2 also.
I need to share. Oh yeah. I need to share this wisdom. I got all this wisdom. I need to get it out. So yeah, anytime.
Definitely. Like I said, this is my first time. This is my first time meeting you. You already been a blessing in my life from the things you've been saying. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, mentoring to my cousin who's mentoring to me. So like I said, we definitely, you're welcome on the show anytime.
Well, I've adopted all of you young men now. All of you now, y'all are my sons. You're now all in the family. So anything I can do for any of you, all you got to do is just call me and let me know. I'll be there for you.
I just want to appreciate Randy real quick. Again, I always, I tell people that's my mentor. And I just got to say, I just thought you was good on your own. No, man. You had it coming.
Hey, and I ain't never, and like I said, I told people, and it's like what I've been saying all the time on this podcast, and is that you're never great on your own. Greatness doesn't come that you just do it. You may have the seed in you, but man, do you got some incredible people. It's all about who you have around you that is watering your seed. This is the most true statement I can ever say to anybody out there, is that you have to be careful, because you can have people water your seed and it's acid, or you could be having people giving you fresh flowing water and purifying you. I've just been blessed to have this man that, like I said, my father pouring and watering in me, and in return, What happens? You pour and you water into other people. Not false information, but life. And that's the only thing that's going to get us over in our community as a whole, blacks, or everybody, period. You just got to be there. But, you know, just because we so happen to be black. But if we don't stop watering each other with such negative things, we are doomed to repeat the same state that we're in. So, Dan, I am so grateful. And we definitely going to have you with a part. We got to get you there. We got to do more, just the more of the part two. But we got to get you live.
Yeah.
We got to get you live on one of our man's conference. I mean, we got to get you live here so people can experience you. Y'all think it's good on video. Live, it's going to be even better. We are going to make some arrangements, and we got to get you here for a part two. Thank you so much for being on here today. I know I kept telling people, I know Matt wouldn't lie. I was like, man, this is what it is. But this is where it is. If people want to know where it's coming from for me, it's come down from this man right here, pouring them in me. And like I said, it came from letting myself get. I thank him because he helped me become a more incredible man. He helped me become a better father. He helped me become a better businessman. He helped me become a better mentor. He helped me become better in every aspect that it was. And it's just watching him. See, it's a difference. And I mean this the best as possible. And I don't care who get offended by this, who listening to this tonight. Talk is cheap. And too many of you niggas bring coupons. Talk is incredibly cheap. The proof is in what you do. I've seen this man do every single thing that he says. I've sit here and watched him. I've soaked it in, and I allowed to sit back and observe it and still am to this day. And I'm so grateful for it, and I'm grateful. It took a while for me to sit here and let everybody get a chance to see him on this big of a scale. And I want to let y'all know we're going to have him back again. And we got, y'all already know, we throw that live and in person with Unfiltered every year. And we definitely gonna have this guy here. If we definitely gonna have my dad there, if he willing to be there. I'm telling you, these are things that y'all really want to hear. I told y'all this is what was gonna happen today. If you was willing to pour in, and if you was willing to be open, if you're a closed-minded person, you're never gonna get anything else. You're never gonna get anything. But we just want to thank you. I appreciate you, Dad, for being here. Apostle Kevin Binion for being here tonight. Sale, I know Sale came on this bad boy for a minute, but I think Sale left because he might have been trying to deal with some of the worldly women. Sale, stay away from the corner, bro. Stay away from the corner, Marcel. And I don't know if before our guys, I let Jordan and Matt say anything they want to say closing out, and then I'll let you say anything if you want to close it out too. So we'll go ahead with Max since he came on here last. I know we have. It's funny before you say that. We've had. I can count on one hand how many shows we've had where it's been. We couldn't say nothing because the information was coming so good. The other ones that I can think of is the couple show. The ladies as well. Mm-hmm. And right here, right now, where you just listen. That's what it's just like we couldn't do nothing but listen to just the wisdom come out. And we are just so, like I said, I knew it was there. I knew it was gonna happen when we got here. And it like I said, it still surpassed my expectations. So, but Matt, Jordan, if y'all got anything to say before I let Dad close us out.
Sorry I'm late. It's my wife's birthday. Crystal, happy birthday. I love you, sweetheart. So that's why I was late to the show. But like I said, just listening on the way, like I said, Mr. Kevin, I appreciate everything because this is a shut up and listen show. And the whole time driving home in traffic, like you done nothing but pour juice. So like I said, we appreciate you and welcome you back anytime. Everybody else, please continue to share, subscribe, and like. And we'll see y'all next week.
Mr. Kevin, Mr. Binion. First of all, I want to apologize for calling you Kevin initially. I need to address you as Mr. Kevin and Mr. Binion, either one you want. But again, I really, really, really truly appreciate the information, and not just the information, the way that you gave it. I think that's really important. I'm a straightforward person, and I like when people are straightforward with me. And everything you said tonight, I mean, it pierced through my heart. It was that two-edged sword. So I definitely appreciate that. I can't wait to have, talks with you on here and off of here also, because it's definitely needed, man. I see where Randy got it from. This is ridiculous, man.
That's a
Seriously,
fact.
this
Fact,
is
bro.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, yeah. That's my son. The apple don't fall far from the tree, and that is my son. But I mean, that's what a father does. And unfortunately, in our communities, we don't have a whole lot of fathers. So but I cherish the responsibility of being a father, and I don't run from it. I don't shy from it. And there's some young men that I meet that don't want the wisdom. Can't help them. But those that do, I pour everything that I got into them. And because I want them to leave a legacy in the earth, just like I'm going to leave a legacy in the earth, and I want them to leave a legacy in the earth. So, but yeah, I was very glad to be on the show. I was glad I finally got a spot on the show. I was actually, believe it or not, I actually held back tonight because I promised my wife that I would be nice. So she said, honey, please, respect me when you go on the show. Remember when you go on the show. I said, honey, you know how I got to do. You know how I got, but please. So I held back just a little bit tonight.
All right, next show you gotta keep the gloves off. Next show.
But next time,
Gloves off. Sir.
Next time it'll be 100 times 10 for sure. So yeah, because I can definitely go there with no problem. Because that's our people need to hear it. They need to hear it as real as they can hear it. Because they've been hearing so many lies, and they've been hearing so much bullshit, for so often. It's like it's finally time for our people to start hearing the truth, and so that's the way I bring it. So so yeah. So next time I won't hold back. So I may even have mine in the room. So who you never know? Because like I said, she is hardcore. Mrs. Binion is hardcore. I mean, she's scary. So anyway, but I'm very glad to be here. And again, I meant what I said. You all are part of the family now. And if you need any kind of advice or wisdom, you just call me and I'll be there for you. So God bless you all. And I look forward to being on the broadcast next time.
Thank you.
Closing us out, Randy.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I said you closing us out.
Yeah, we all get ready to close out. So we are so great. I'm sorry, I got caught up. I got caught up. You get to thinking and you remember, you kind of do stuff, put it together. So you kind of get some stuff in. So, I'm happy that I was able to, to have them on the show, and just to let them know, like I said, I tell them all the time. I just want to let them know how much of dang. True. Man. I don't know what I would be without. I really don't. I don't know where I'd be without you. When I know. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you, and I love you. I appreciate you.
I love you
I
too.
know for a fact that I'm a better man, better father, just a better individual all the way through. And it's because of you. For everybody else on Unfiltered, please share the video. We'll be back next week. The plan is to be live. If we're not live, y'all gonna know we still gonna have the show. Oh man, goodness. You think I get an extra 1,000 views for the tears? But it's all cool, man. It's all cool. I'm appreciative to them. Sometimes you count your blessings. That's why we tell people, count your blessings. Be grateful for everybody that get in your life that's positive and they get in there. And he came right on time for me, and I appreciate them and I love them. So everybody else, share this video, follow, get it out there to everybody, so they can go ahead and see all this great wisdom that passed for the night. We definitely gonna have them on here again, and we will see y'all next week, same time, 7 on Wednesday, Unfiltered. So for Jordan Asian Boy, for Mac Reese, for Miss Cola, who, if we live, we'll be here live next week. That'll be the first time we see Cola in months on this man. And to my dad, Pastor Kevin Bean, appreciate you. And we will see y'all all next week, Wednesday, on Unfiltered.